Hello and welcome back to another Betting Bankers live stream. We're here to discuss all things sports gambling related with a focus on soccer, horse racing, NFL and NBA. We share our bets before the event starts and then we monitor the progress as the action happens. Let's get cheering on those winners and making some money.
Hello, welcome back to another episode of the Betting Bankers this Saturday night. Slightly different to usual. How's everybody getting on?
Yeah, great.
Pretty good.
Yep.
Pretty good.
How's everyone?
It kind of feels a bit more weird to be on live on a Saturday for some reason.
Yeah. It feels a lot more casual.
I don't know why that's affecting me. Yeah.
We're keeping our tradition alive anyway, that we're going to come on 15 minutes late and announce a few moves that everybody missed.
Yeah.
But we're off to a flyer tonight with the football. So it's looking good across the board. The golf is looking pretty good as well. It's actually spoiled for choice this weekend about what we're going to back and what we're going to watch. But might dive in with the football. So maybe Gary, to you let out a bit of a roar there before we hit the air.
Yeah. So two bets on tonight, both in the Portugal-France game.
Yeah.
So kind of the certainty bet was Kingsley Coman to have one shot on target. He was even money. And that came in kind of the first 10 minutes. And then also have Martial, 2 or more shots on target. And he's just had a one-on-one with Rui Patricio. Should have scored, but got the shot on target anyway. So one bet in the bag, one halfway there, and still a good chunk of the game to go. So decent start.
Probably better for the bet that he missed the shot as opposed to scoring.
Yeah.
Well, just you don't want him to get hooked after fucking 45 minutes for missing sitters either. But, yeah, like while it's 0-0, both teams will still be attacking anyway. So it's been a fairly decent game. I thought France were a big price in the match. Like they're 2-1 still. I think they were about 12-5 earlier on, which I thought was big, and they've started pretty well. They don't have some of their big guns playing. Like Mbappe and there's a couple of others missing, but they still have a very strong team out, so they look a bit overpriced. But so it's an end-to-end game at the minute anyway.
They're sort of spoiled for choice, though, aren't they? Really, France at the minute.
Yeah, unreal. Like,
generally, yeah. And if you look at every time they announce a squad, it's more interesting to see who they've left out, who they can afford to leave out. It's all right. Speaking of surprises, Ukraine have kind of rocking the boat there against Germany. I'm kind of annoyed with myself because I was saying beforehand about kind of like Germany and both teams to score, but I thought, it'll be a typical win to 0 now and catch me with pants down. So
I was looking at the same because Germany haven't been like that lately. They actually have been conceding a few goals. You expect to go in and see their fixtures just a list of 1-0s and 2-0s, and that's pretty much it. But yeah, they have been playing matches where both teams have scored lately. So I was thinking the same, but yeah, I didn't go on it either.
Could be a good one now to let it drift on for a while if they become a reasonable price to back themselves in Germany.
Well, that's
PK will probably tell us the right time to do it.
Yeah, I was going to say there's definitely an in-play opportunity here, like, right? I'd be happy to let it go until you get a bit more value, like. But Germany are currently 4-5 to win, which, considering I think they were 1-8 pre-match, or maybe a little less.
They were 1-4 PK.
1-4. I was looking at some crazy odds, and so maybe but still at even money there might be a bit of price with still 75 minutes left in the game. But we'll see. Or 65. Sorry, 65. Yeah.
Good maths.
How are you getting on with the golf, lads? You recommended a few guys that are looking all right there, Gary.
Yeah. So. Like as it stands at the minute, I have I backed of the tournament 3 that were kind of proper picks, and then there was 3 really big outsiders. So and Abraham Answer, and both of them I backed at around between kind of 270 and 300 on the exchange, and they're currently joint third at the minute. I feel Nicholson back, he's kind of tailed off a bit, and Webb Simpson they've tailed off, and then the other I have is Justin Thomas. So as it stands at the minute, I basically have second, third, and fourth in it. So if Dustin Johnson can just have a few bad holes, things will look very nice. But yeah, decent start, and still a long way to go. But yeah, happy with it so far.
Did you get 270 about Sun JM?
On the exchange, yeah.
Jeez, that's a crazy price.
Yeah, I sent you that spreadsheet today. Like he was 80-1 on the sports book.
Yeah,
And I think it could have been like 268 or something like that, but it was definitely high 200s.
That's
so yeah,
it's ridiculous. And like he's had such a good he's had a very good year. Like that's a crazy price.
Germany won all.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Did we get on it?
Leroy Sané.
Oh,
that's one of your 2 shots, Lee. Probably.
Yeah.
Oh, very nice. That's a great start, actually. So this bet is looking pretty decent now. If the my luck now is going to be the Serie C game to let us down.
BK, I think in future, like you just when you get those, those little ideas into your head in the running, you just need to jump on them straight away. Don't be getting queue waiting for more odds or whatever.
Yeah.
Speaking of trying to be too cute, Slats was talking about some game to have a goal in it. We were talking about it last night, and it didn't have a goal early, and I had my full Bet365 bank on the bet, but in the bet slip I was watching the odds drift, and I was waiting for it to hit evens, and I think it got to like 10 to 11 or something like that, and I was just about to pull the trigger. Gold. So
you missed out on a full fiver.
Yeah, exactly, PK.
Full fiver.
Expensive one.
The missus won't be happy you're gambling the future, the family future.
What is this Polish beverage that you're consuming?
I think we went into it in the previous stream, did we? Czech Republic finalists.
Czech Republic finalists, the Techie.
Yeah,
not one I've managed to get my hands on so far, but I'll keep an eye out for it.
Yeah, do. I think that's what's throwing me off actually. Normally I'm fresh when I'm having a few beers for the stream on a Friday night, but I managed to overdo it a bit last night, so it's the first time I've been on a stream feeling a bit tender.
Oh,
maybe that's what it is.
Did you see that Switzerland went up 1-0 against Spain?
That's perfect. That's perfect for my bet. Because I have both teams scoring that and for the accumulator, so you'd fancy Spain to get one there.
Who scored?
Switzerland scored against Spain, so I have both teams to score.
No, but who scored the goal?
Oh, Fruller.
Switzerland.
Fruller.
Did Switzerland score?
I've seen these names for the first time. Like,
yeah, who scored? Was it Switzerland or 1-0?
Yeah, we're losing, I think.
I'm not. No more comments from me.
So who actually scored?
It was I think it was Switzerland.
Someone just send him a link.
Myself, it's fine.
Someone send Gary a link to live score there, will it? Jesus.
I can't. I'm just like, actually, do you know what? Google's actually very quick on the updates, in fairness. Live scores.
These things called apps these days too.
Yeah.
All my technology.
Live scores definitely one of the slowest.
So, Gary, who would you take in the golf if you had to take one now? I'm liking the way he's playing, watching today.
Well, Abraham Answer has just stuck one to about 3 foot for a birdie.
Yeah,
I've just seen
that there too. Yeah.
No, like it's hard to see past Johnson, but obviously, like you couldn't back him now.
No.
Sorry, Martial just had a shot there that went about a yard wide, kind of into the side now. But yeah, out of the pack, Justin Thomas I think he's the best player kind of within 3 or 4 shots. So and like the other two, Answer and him, could just lose their head on a Sunday, first time Masters, never really been there in a major. So you'd have to think it's between Johnson and Thomas. But as I said, I don't really mind at the minute because I'm just getting such a good run out of the ones I backed. And if one of them goes close, I'll be happy.
Yeah, I have Ram and Matsuyama on a couple of bets, and both of them dropped 2 shots there in the space of a couple of holes each.
Yeah, Ram hasn't so Johnson and Thomas especially they've been going on like real good streaks. So when they get one birdie, they go on runs of like, you know, birdie, 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 or birdie, eagle, birdie, or whatever, and they kind of just pull clear. Whereas Ram is kind of picking up one every four holes he picks up a birdie, and then when he gets and has a bad hole, it's just a disaster, game over for him. Like, you know, so
I agree.
Yeah, it's a pity McIlroy played so bad on the first day as well, because
he's put 2 good rounds together, hasn't he? 2 very good rounds.
But he's still like, he's 6 shots behind at the minute. You know, he needs Johnson to kind of implode and have a very good round tomorrow. But I think that shot on 13 yesterday really fucked him up on his second round when he put it into the trees. It was a
that was a wild hook. That was a wild hook.
Mm.
Our bet, the roller bet is in
just come in, yeah. Livorno just conceded as well. So actually, if you remember, lads, when I texted on to you, I actually said to back Livorno to win, and then I just kind of know what gave me a kind of a shiver about it, and I just changed it to goals instead. So I'm pretty happy with that now. So I mean, it could still need to come in, but
are we thinking
it's gone now? If
but
they don't score 2,
that's the rolling bet in, right?
Yep, it's the rolling bet is in. So we're up to 117. So I mean, if anybody else can find a 1 to 20 between 1 to 20 and 1 to 10, we can roll straight away.
All right, so we're going to do one live on the show, are we? I'm going to be looking for a 1 to 20 shot just to lose it live. Okay.
Yeah, the round 1 to 15, I think, for the Ukraine-Germany game to have another goal in the next hour.
That seems pretty
good. Seems like
Yeah, I think so too.
You like that one? Right, let's load it up.
Yeah, 1 to 15, PK, you said?
Well, see what you can get on the exchange there, LB.
Might get near 1 to 10 on the exchange.
Yeah, it was 1 to 16 here on Bet365 that I'm looking, but
while I'm hunting that out, maybe one of you guys can explain to our viewers what the purpose of this challenge is.
Does what?
I thought you were going to say put it out for a throw-in.
Word work doesn't count as a shot on target, no? Oh,
I mean, a defender too, Gary, right? Or does that just count as a block?
It's a defender, is that? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, right. Sense.
It's 1.07 on the exchange, by the way.
Yeah, well, I didn't make it up, but yeah. So basically, the idea is that you start with 100 and bet your bank on a very, very safe bet, and then roll your winnings, roll your total bank onto the next bet. Keep going. I think our target was initially 10 grand. We might bring that down to 1 grand and be a bit more realistic with it.
Something more reasonable.
We're not supposed to do 100 bets.
But you see, we wouldn't have to do 100 bets if we were only going to 1 grand as well. We started with one where we were pretty strict on up in 1 to 20s, and that works out at about 100 bets, I think. But been a bit more looser on the odds once the person is happy with the.
I think the problem with 1 to 20s was that it was severely limiting the options that we had. We basically just became laying nil-nils. That's all we could really do with that kind of price. So I think a bit of flexibility it helps us.
We deviated much from the nil-nils. We're just
yeah.
It's just an easy market.
Yeah.
We
haven't got past like we're getting about 20 right, and then we're getting one wrong. So I wouldn't exactly.
My issue with the strict 1 to 20s is that you end up going searching for a 1 to 20, and then when you find one, you kind of convince yourself that I'll go with this one,
definitely,
rather than actually just looking for absolute guaranteed bets. Like, and you can find a bet that you know it's a guarantee. It could be 1 to 5 or 1 to 10, and you're absolutely dead certain it's going to come in. But previously we would have vetoed those.
Yeah.
So we'll see how we go. I think a target of 1 grand is acceptable. Oh, Germany just scored again. Did you see that? We get on
Did we
that.
get it on?
Did we get on it, LB?
We did.
Oh,
I was too busy yapping. Too busy
you're
yapping.
not serious, like you
No,
said.
we
why-
definitely did. I can see it in his eyes. We did.
We're on it.
Look at the cheeky
We-
chappy.
I'm just going to deposit £10, pretend we were on it, and just move past this.
So
No, I was
did we
dealing
get
with a technical issue. No, I was dealing with something technical. guys.
I say we go again then.
technical?
I don't know. Germany are winning now. That's the goal that we knew was going to happen.
All right, moving
Yeah.
on.
I have
You
say
were-
go,
I have
towards
been
the
a separate
France.
bet to win -1s. I think it's still a decent bet to go.
I mean,
Not a white. Not a white. 3 goals in half an hour.
Yeah.
I know I have no comment on this because it's my fault that we didn't get the first one. So
I don't mind if you want to go again, go for it. I just think it is.
Actually, Pat, yeah, I mean, like, just while you're going into sheriff mode there, like, we're going to have you make the call, but there was people making moves behind your back on your position. Let me just say that.
There was that. There was some unnecessary background noise that I commented on, and apparently that puts me as the controller of the group or whatever.
Did you ever think about taking on a rookie sheriff lad?
a
I thought
deputy.
BK's exact quote was, "There's a new sheriff in town," huh?
Oh,
I would never do that to you, lads. Not a hope.
Deputy Kelly.
No, I'm not fit for the role. I'm not fit for the role. I have no discipline whatsoever. Speaking of, is this a good time to call out the sheriff's lads on his 80-1? No comment, I suppose. No advice.
yeah, it is.
Hey, whoa. That was only 50-1. In fact, it was only. Oh yeah, it was. It was 50.
Oh, it was only 50-1. Sorry, Slat.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
It was
Go ahead.
LB's.
It
It
doesn't
was
matter.
LB's was the 80-1.
hold on, LB had nothing to do with it. It was a Gary's bet that he told me about for the record, right? So while he
I
was
mean, yeah. In fairness, LB's the whistleblower, right? So he needs the prop. We need to support the whistleblowers.
He's a squealer. No one likes to snitch on me.
I'm not having this at all. My name getting sullied here.
The group
I don't
snitch.
know.
I'm glad I don't
Also,
tell
I didn't even get on that 50-1 shot myself. I just recommended it to someone else.
I believe
That
that.
does actually stop a little bit.
1-1 in the Liverno game. LB, I was going to ask you what your theory was on them winning, because they were 2-1 double chance when they went 1-0 down. But I've missed that.
So my theory, now that we're talking about it, my theory on them was basically they had an absolutely toxic end to the Serie B last year and they got relegated. I think they might have got. We actually were backing against them quite a bit at the tail end of last season on these live streams. I think they might have gone 15 games in a row without a win and about 12 losses in that. And they picked up this season in the same vein. I think they lost and drew, like lost 5, drew 1 of their first 6. But then since then, they've actually put a decent spell together. So they're still really low on the table, but I think they've like won 4 and drawn 2, haven't lost in 6 in the league. So I just thought they looked a bit overpriced. And that was basically the logic. But I don't really care now because if that was another goal, we're going to be laughing.
Are we doing Germany and thing?
I'm on for it, but somebody else have to make that call. I've already placed my bet.
No,
and then
go on, do it. It can be my bet. I do either the Germany game or the France game.
You like to look at a French game, do you?
If there's any way of cashing out
Do
on
both.
Martial, if there's any way of cashing out of Martial, bet I'd do it, because it's like he put his boots on the wrong feet this morning. Like, he's fucking terrible.
Well, he's already got one, so we're not looking too bad there.
Sweden just scored there as well, so that's my bet off from there.
Oh, class. I'm actually laughing now.
Goals galore.
So our tenner can be cashed out for 40 quid, so it's not a bad start. But I mean, if there's we're so close in a lot of these that like Martial has one, Sané has one, every game has at least one goal. Oh, it's just gone suspended in Germany.
Hold up, it could be Martial.
Missed bet of the night, number 3.
Probably not.
Please don't be a Germany goal.
Oh.
It's not suspended on Bet365.
Oh, it's foul committed. That's the only thing. That nonsense. Right, picks it. So we going Germany first, or we going France, or we can do it as a sportsbook double.
I'm on for the double again. I'm on for Saturday night gamble.
A goal in the Portugal-France
yeah.
game, is that what you're talking?
A goal in both.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, the Portugal-France game has been, 12 shots with 5 of them on target already. Like, that looks like there's a goal brewing.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
I'm watching
galore.
here, lads. It's very open.
Yeah, I don't
Right,
know.
I'll be pulled the
I'm
trigger.
happy for someone to go with either of them.
There's
But
1 to
yeah.
5 for goal in that. 2 to 9 even. Is that over 0.5? Yeah, that seems pretty generous. And then Germany over 3.5, which always feels like a risk. It's 1 to 14. So the double will take us from 117 to 154. We're on it.
Yeah,
Pull
that's
the
what I'm
trigger.
talking about.
Pull the trigger.
Yeah.
Make sure I haven't missed put in 2 goals here by accident. No, 0.5 Portugal, France, 3.5 Germany, Ukraine. We're on. Okay, perfect.
All right, lovely.
Ah, fantastic.
PK, what's your gut telling you about them?
PK probably laid the bet that I just put on.
Sound is gone, is it?
Right. Now that we're a bit more relaxed, did anybody watch the rugby earlier on? The Argentina match?
I didn't see it. No, I meant to watch highlights of it
No, I don't
after, but I didn't even get to that much.
Yeah, man. It's their first time. I think it's the first time ever beating them, is it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't even see what odds they were, but they must have been like 50 to 1 or 80 to 1 or.
Yeah, and it's pretty handy. Like I only saw like a 3-minute highlight of it, but it was like whatever 30 odd. Like there was no, it wasn't like a nail biter or anything like that.
No, I think they were up 16-3.
My match is in, by the way. 3rd goal in Italy. Boom.
Oi, oi.
I was right to doubt Livorno because they're 2-1 down now. So fantastic. Sorry, I interrupted you. Last got a bit excited.
I think it was like 16-3 at half time, and I think they went up 19-3 early in the second half. So they kind of. My guess is that New Zealand just went into it way too complacent, having, well, I was going to say having gotten the better of Australia over the 4 games, but they actually lost the last game to Australia. So you wouldn't really have expected complacency after surprise defeat.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they just had too much ground to catch up then. Once out for the second half, conceded another penalty, that was a big margin they had to catch up. Argentina can defend if I mean they're well able to attack too, but if you give them that much of a margin, as Ireland found out plenty times in the past, it's hard to eat back into it. Hard to.
Still probably my worst sporting memory is sitting in Cardiff watching that absolute shit show.
You just ended up going home after, didn't you?
I couldn't go out. All the rest, I felt betrayed by all the Irish fans who were just dancing in the streets like it was a weekend out in Cardiff, and I was just watching it going, we spent years looking for. But this was the dream scenario. We get Argentina at this point of the competition, and then Martial.
Yeah.
Oh, lovely. We're laughing.
Is it a goal?
Two of our legs up.
No, a great save by Patricio. It was actually after hitting Patricio in the balls, but yeah, it's
controversial.
Taking them on the line.
Up anyway.
So that's 2 legs of the bet up now, so we're laughing. I'd say it'd be.
And then we're halfway there in the other 3 as well, right? What's the cash up bet will be?
I'm glad we've moved swiftly along past that horror day in Cardiff.
Come here, can someone just tell PK that his sound isn't working? I can see him contributing there.
I was just about to bring up that the reason you didn't go out was because you're afraid of the lads on the train.
It was actually the same day, but it happened afterwards. I made a rude gesture to some fella out the window of the train because I was in such a bad mood. And he got on the train and came and tried to start a fight with me. The lowest ebbs in my life. Yeah. And then all the locals on the train, like, it was. I don't even want to tell the story. It's so embarrassing. But everybody started going on. That's the difference between rugby fans and football fans. The best bit is you lied to your father. They got on the train. My mum was like, "Are they coming for you?" I was like, "No, I don't think so." And he was like, "What happened?" And I was like, "Nothing." And then they came up and they were like, "You started shouting at me," and then everybody was like, "Oh, typical football fans causing a fight. Rugby fans are so calm." And I was just like,
I hate
if there's
that.
a hell, I am going straight to hell for this. And then they got horsed off the train. My man turned around. He was like, "You did, didn't you?" And I was like, "Yeah, I did. Yeah, sorry." It was absolutely mortifying.
Can you recreate the scene? Can you recreate the sign or no?
It wasn't that bad a sign, but
Okay.
cash out suspended on our bet, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sweden Croatia isn't suspended anyway on Bet365. Neither is Switzerland.
Portugal France one.
No, it's not. No, none of the 3 are as far as I can see here.
Maybe because it's been too, because I have the the shots on target. It's just settling, but it usually comes up as market close.
Awaiting result or something.
Awaiting result, yeah. Germany,
So
Ukraine.
Is someone keeping an eye if Germany, if Lee's lad for Germany gets another shot on target? Who is it that you have?
Leroy Brown.
Yeah. So our tenner is worth 104 quid now, which seems pretty decent.
Yeah.
Decent.
Yeah, and plenty of time left. Like it's not even half time.
Like, so we need a Croatia goal, which is what we want, a Spain goal. I mean, that's exactly how we want those matches to be looking at the minute. And then a Sané
Spain
shot.
Actually a decent price. Spain are 3-1, like
in play. Wow.
In play, yeah.
Yeah, but they don't exactly have the strongest lineup.
No.
Do they not?
No, they're missing a fair few. I was just checking it out there.
I think I'm going to go in on them, though. I think I'm going to do a Spain-France double. France are 5-2, and Spain are 16-5. Like, so the double is 15-1.
They've been dominating possession and attacks and most of the stats, really.
Yeah, France have. I'm not watching it though.
Bad. There's a stat on live score treatments. Has that always been there? Number of treatments game.
No, that's definitely
3 already for Spain.
Here, I'm looking at the Spain lineup, right? And there's an F Torres up front. Is that Fernando Torres? Like?
No, Ferran Torres.
Ferran Torres.
Is Fernando Torres like retired at this stage or playing that five-a-side football?
Well, you know, he's in the Atletico squad
last season, I
wasn't he? Still.
Yeah.
Was it? I thought I saw him recently enough, but yeah, it could be.
No, I think it was last season. Yeah, he was playing for Atletico up until then, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. So
okay.
These matches should be all hitting half time now, should they?
Yeah, they're all heading that way.
Half time in Germany and.
Yeah.
Spain have a corner there just before half time. It's in injury time. But we know that goals never ever come from corners, so
wasting the time.
Yeah.
Ref might as well just blow the whistle now, like.
Do you know, it's actually
Play back to the goalkeeper and start again.
Yeah. So while half time rolls around, Slats, there's a few other rugby matches coming up next weekend that might catch the eye.
Yeah, well, I mean, the big one for us is Ireland travelling to Twickenham in this Autumn Nations Cup thing, whatever they're calling it.
Yeah.
You'd expect one of those two. Well, I mean, I'm sure England are big favourites to win it, but if Ireland were to win over in Twickenham, they'd become favourites to win it. It's that sort of way.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I was looking at the spread. There isn't much odds available for it yet. And it's the thing with England is they haven't really been tested. Their game since they travelled to Italy and hammered them, and then they played Georgia today, put up 40 points on them. The handicap in that game actually was 40-0. The handicap was 42 points.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so
Georgia actually won. Minus 42 is that the other crowd don't score. So it was the rule. Ireland are plus 11 for that match.
Yeah, so the last 3 games England have won, and at least one of them they've won by 12. Sorry, they've won all of them by over 11 points. But I have a feeling they've won 2 of them by exactly 12 points. So it's been tight enough on that 11 point. You can see where they're getting that from. But
yeah,
I'd be leaning on toward England beating that. The only thing is it is a bigger game. 42 than what they've played in recent weeks or even months, I suppose. So yeah, I'd be leaning toward England with the handicap, but I'll be hoping that they don't do it. Ireland weren't bad against Wales, but it's hard to really determine the kind of merit of that win, given how poor Wales have been this year.
Yeah. So, speaking of that one, I mean, Wales, they took a bit of a physical hammering in that match as well. And then Georgia are an incredibly physical team. I mean, it's it's always the gulf in rugby between the top teams and the second rung of teams is pretty immense. But I'm surprised. I didn't know anyone still had a landline that would ring.
That's just my
That's
knock.
actually my doorbell. It's not. It's a doorbell. It's not a phone.
Oh, is it? Oh, God.
Sorry.
I haven't heard that sound in so long. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, Wales are, I think they're like 30-point favourites against Georgia, which seems a lot. And then,
Yeah.
I mean, I know you can never really tell how good these teams are. But like when Georgia and them get to the World Cup, they're never really embarrassed. You know, they always
They don't. It was the 2015 World Cup that people were kind of calling for, you know, Georgia maybe to take Italy's place or further to be a kind of relegation promotion. But since then, they haven't kicked on. They weren't great in the World Cup gone. You know, they got hockeyed by Scotland recently. I know England are, but yeah, like not even to score a point against England, 40-0. They're not. They don't seem to be going in the right direction. So, you know, I'd love to think that they could put it up to Wales. At Georgia, where they were 4 or 5 years ago, and Wales, where they are right now, they'd have a good cutoff. Don't see it happening just the way I could see Wales kind of, you know, salvaging a bit of respect with a big enough win.
The 22-1 caught my eye for Georgia, but you've successfully taught me out of that one.
I'd love to think they could do it. Yeah, they haven't shown that ability lately.
The other one that stood out to me is Scotland-France. And we were talking on maybe last week or 2 weeks ago on this show how the French often struggle at Murrayfield. And Scotland are 11-5. You know, they're underdogs, obviously. Yeah, they're 7-point underdogs. France are 2-5. -7, obviously. For
the only thing I'd say is maybe France will want to make up for, you know, missing that Grand Slam with that feat in Murrayfield.
You know, I don't think so. Like, that's not the way the French operate.
You're right. England, it's not how they
England left the Six Nations behind them. God help whoever they played the following week. But France have just, you know, doesn't matter. They could turn up like a friendly, and you know, like they really only turn it on for England World Cups and New Zealand, maybe Australia. I don't see how they're going to be pumped up for a cold, wet, miserable day up in Edinburgh. So I think Scotland are a good bet there, 11-5.
Yeah, you definitely make a good argument for it. Yeah, and Scotland are on a pretty decent run. I mean, again, they beat a pretty poor Welsh team, but they did it in Cardiff.
Yeah, I do think with Scotland, a lot of it is like they're definitely, like, the national team is kind of less than the sum of its parts quite often, and they seem to have a mental hurdle, but they seem to kind of you know, a lot of silly mistakes in games, and I think having one in Cardiff could give them a boost. I don't know. I think shouldn't be having a price against France at home.
I think that was their first away Six Nations win, other than Italy. Their first away Six Nations win in 10 years.
Yeah, I heard something like that. Yeah, shocking.
Brutal, like, yeah. And it was Ireland was the one before 10 years ago.
That's so many memories of, like, you know, we beat England and then lose to Scotland.
It used to be such a regular occurrence. Like, I mean, it wasn't a regular occurrence that we beat England, but the ratio of the amount of times we beat England that we then would go on.
I might be mixing up two stories here, but was it after we beat England in Croke Park? Did we lose in Scotland the following week, or was it?
No, it wasn't.
No,
we did
that
lose.
Year.
No, it was the year before. I think that we lost to Scotland. No, sorry, because that was the first year in Croke Park. Yeah, we lost to France. Who was that bastard of a winger that always did the damage to us? His name escapes me. But anyway, they beat us with it. We went up by 5 points, I think, to go, and they won the restart. Not even 5 minutes to go. Sorry, about 2 minutes to go. They won the restart. Oh, was it Leclerc?
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, I let
handsome. Beautiful, BK, yeah.
Traditionally handsome.
You're all right. I'm never going to stop you talking about your love for Giroud.
The odd part is that PK and Gary's camera feed has gone off as well. So Lord knows why that's happened at this part of the
Going on.
conversation.
Oi, oi.
I can see both of them on my screen anyway.
Yeah. Now you're back. Now it's just that it's just the stream needs to catch up.
Might be it. Oh well.
Oh, good, Pierre. Welcome back.
Yeah, 2 down and 3 are halfway there.
It's a Nations League game. Like, I'm not sure Spain give a crap.
Yeah, it's always, you wonder, like, you're overexposing yourself on certain bets. Might be best to just let them go.
Yeah, your hard-held belief that they have to score, it's just you just have to let it go. We have enough riding on in that game anyway. What's the cash out? Over 110, is it?
It was. Let me double check it now.
And my problem is Serie could have substituted at half time now.
Sweden scored again just before the break, which I don't know if it makes any odds. I'd prefer if it stayed 1-0 in Croatia.
Yeah, 1-0 is definitely the ideal one. Down to 95 from 100 and I think it was 104.
It's the thing with these Nation League games, you'll see a lot of subs, I'd say.
PK, I feel like you're hinting at taking the cash.
I'm just saying the potential caveats to the bet, LB. That's all. Like, there's two sides to betting. There's the hopeful and there's the looking at the downfalls too.
Yeah.
No, I think
it's 65-1 though. It's hard to cash out.
Oh, we're not cashing it out. Absolutely not. I'm just saying, these are the potential issues here.
The other thing is, right, if you looked at the accumulator before kickoff and you said, well, if these two win by half time and well, if these goals and this shot on target, you'd be like, oh yes, let that bet ride, like, you know what I mean? You'd be delighted.
All of those bets.
No, well,
the one you'd really wanted to have in was the Series C, and then probably a coin toss between Martial and Serie. So I mean,
yeah,
to have Spain, Croatia, and Serie a shot are the only things left. I think that's the absolute ideal scenario, as opposed to having those bets in and having a 0-0 in Italy or something like that.
Just a quick comment on the golf. Dustin's after going 4 clear, so he's going to have to come back to the whole field for that to be competitive. Which he could do. He's known to implode on a few majors. We'll see. But yeah, at the moment it's one-way traffic.
Yeah.
Still good watching though.
He's McIlroy's having a good day, isn't he? Or he had a good day.
Two good days. Yeah, he played I think 500 today and 600 yesterday.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, 66 and a 67 after a bloody 75.
Yeah, he had a bad first round. I think it was 2 or 3 over after the first round, so he's made a very good comeback. But he just gave too much of a head start, it looks like, to the likes of Justin and Justin Thomas. So
there's too many in front of him. Yeah, still with plenty to play today.
Well, like he's at is he sitting at 7 or 8 over under?
He's 8 under, so
yeah, but like Johnson, realistically,
only 3 off anyone else. Like
exactly, other than Dustin Johnson. So everyone needs Dustin Johnson to come back to them. Really, like it's it's annoying, but a lot can happen. It's the Masters. That's why it's so interesting. Yep, that's what I'm watching him play. The Masters.
Are you backing anything for specific round 3 PK that you're waiting on tonight?
No, I have a couple of running bets. We've pool bets on and stuff like that. With you pick 3 players and whoever has the lowest cumulative score across you and all this. I'm doing all right. Like you'd be thinking you're doing great, well, and then you look. Some boys have Dustin Johnson with Justin Thomas and with someone else, and like he's 10 shots ahead, and you're like, yeah. If you don't have Dustin Johnson, you're not going to win it. That's the way it's looking. So, but let's hope things change in the next 24 hours. Yeah, round 3 of tournaments is just the hardest one to gauge because there's no feeling for it anymore. People are, their form lines and stuff like that. You can't really find much value. It's hard to judge it by that round, I think. Golf's a lottery at the best of times. When you're betting on these majors, you're just having a punt.
You're just taking a punt, aren't you?
Yeah, you're taking a punt, but it's nice something to have to cheer hopefully on Sunday then too. but it's
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, you would. We're. I'm just trying to get a scoreboard up here to see where how many Dustin's played. Has he still got the 13th to come, or has he played it already? Yeah. Okay. And 2. Yeah, it'd be nice to see Dustin drop a shot or two and come back to the field slightly for tomorrow. But he's playing too steady for that, it seems. I mean, it's absolutely stacked up and behind him. Like it's set up brilliantly, but we need him to come back slightly. I'm just looking at a replay of it here now. Oh yeah, it just ran on over the lip. It's a difficult little chip, but hopefully. Okay, second half's kicked off.
No, I don't think so. Yeah, really.
They should just be kicking off now, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, according to Flash.
All still half time before internationals anyway.
Yeah.
So, like, I use Sky Bet just to track the scores because I think they update the quickest on there. But they have a special for tomorrow on there, and it's Kane and Sterling, De Bruyne and Lukaku. England are playing Belgium, like. So those 4 players each to have a shot on target is 8-1. Now I know trying to pick 4 players to have a shot on target in any game is a long shot, but like individually you'd expect them all to be like 4-11 to have a shot on target. You're getting 8-1 on the ACA, like.
What would you get if you combined 4-11 for 4 bets?
I'm gonna go in and see what the actual ACA is, and then I'll be able to tell. Like I don't know what prices they actually are. So give us a second.
Right,
I'll go in and do it.
Yeah, I get what you're saying though. You'd agree any one of them individually confident to getting a shot.
Do we know they're all starting?
No, the game is not till 8 o'clock tomorrow, but I assume like the 2 of them seem to be taking it seriously, and the game in Wembley, like full teams kind of started. So I'd expect them to have strong enough teams out. The only one that'd be dodgy is Lukaku because he's just coming back from injury.
I wonder, in a special like that, if the player doesn't play, will they just void the leg out, or do you lose the bet?
I'd say they'd void the leg out, but the risk is that he comes on with 10 minutes to go.
Yeah.
They might void it then, like.
But even still, like, if it's 8-1, are they taking? If you take him out of the 8-1, do they treat him as a 4-11 shot when they take him out, or what do they do?
No, I'd say it voids the bet if it's a special accum. Like I don't think it's
You
per
could
leg.
back.
They void the whole bet, I'd say. If you took them all individually and put them in an accumulator, which then you can void that leg. But if it's a special accum, I'd say they just void the whole bet.
Yeah.
These games are starting to kick off now. I just realised we actually need a goal each for
all our various bets.
For various bets to come off, yeah. Which makes it interesting anyway.
Yeah.
For what various bets?
So our rolling banker, we need a goal in Portugal and Germany, and then for our Saturday ACA, we need Spain and Croatia to score.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's why I have all 4 games on marked here is to watch, yeah.
That'd be it.
Yeah.
So one of Spain and Croatia score and one of France and Germany score. That's what's going to happen.
That'd be sick.
That'll be a good evening. How much does the ACA return? 600?
650.
Oh yes. Rolling.
PK, but you weren't on for a PK, so you just get your tenner back. Is that right? Or your share of the 10.
You're €2, man.
250, yeah.
What part was I not on for that for the accumulator? I don't remember that part.
anyone who's late to the stream. I think that's what we said.
That means
We're all good. So.
that means Slats owes us money if that's the case.
Only if the bet comes in, I think. They're gonna say
just on that Aka, it's 4-1 without the enhancement. So Kane is 2-9, Lukaku's 2-7, De Bruyne 1-2, and Sterling 4-6. So
yeah,
it's, just over 4-1.
That's a surprisingly decent enhancement, isn't it?
Yeah,
It usually moves it up by a mark or two, like maybe 6 or 7 to 8 to 1, 4 to 1 up is decent.
It's more often at the lower ones as well. Like they'll give you a 1-2 for Lukaku to shoot. They'll move it up to evens or something like that. But from 4 to 8 is a pretty decent one.
This is my worry that they know something or something, like if they might have an inside line. It just seems too good to be true, right? And Sterling probably only play 45 minutes or something like that. It just seems like a.
But again, as we saw, Martial and Sané had a shot on target inside the first 10 minutes each. They do come in.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Look,
I'm saying,
played during the week against Ireland and didn't play a strong team. So I'd say the England team is guaranteed to be fairly strong tomorrow. Like,
yeah.
So it's only Belgium you need to kind of worry about.
I mean, I've definitely had worse 8-1 bets anyway. That's for sure.
Yeah. Before we get sucked into the second half here, we picked out a few bets for tomorrow as well, or over the rest of the weekend. So you've actually got your eye on one of the fights tonight, PK. It's the first one up chronologically.
Yeah, I just had a look at the Bud Crawford and the Kell Brook fight now. It's a big fight for Kell Brook. He's been thereabouts at this level. He held the world title, but he's a fighter I always liked. But he had that bad injury against Golovkin, and I don't know if any of you seen the fight, but he was well on top. Well, I don't say on top. He was well in that fight.
He was in it for sure. Yeah.
I don't think he was losing at the point he went out, and he obviously got that eye injury, and then he lost Earl Spence after that. But the eye caused him problems there again, and he just didn't look the same fighter because you would if any like any other man
look the same after a.
You'd definitely be afraid of like your eye just in general. Like, but he seems in the last couple of fights to have come around now, and he's just a lot more. He's just like more comfortable with it. He's not as aware, and plus Earl Spence is one of the best pound for pound fighters on the planet anyway. So there's no shame in losing to him. Now the thing about Crawford is I don't think Crawford has the power. I think Crawford wins. I think he wins because he's technically one of the best boxers out there. He's just too many angles, is just too quick, and his IQ is huge. I think Crawford can go toe to toe with most though, or Brook, and I don't think Crawford has the actual power to put him away. Now, if he can land a couple of good punches, I could be eating my words on that one. But 5-2 is just too good a price for it to go the distance and Crawford to win.
But is he just for the win?
To win, he's like 1-9 or something. He's ridiculously short, like, but.
It's a fair old swing from 1-9 to 5-2 to.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I mean, based on your logic that he won't put him down, then
the bookies seem convinced that he's going to get him out of there. But I'm like, to my mind, I'm like, having only 2 losses and against GGG where you weren't actually struggling, but you caught a punch and your eye was, basically your eye socket was broke. And then the first fight back after that against one of the best pound for pound fighters in the world, I'm just like, nothing in Kell Brook's record suggests that, Crawford, who's not a big puncher, is going to cause him a massive amount of problems. So I just think there's value there. Being perfectly honest, at 5-2.
Where's that fight going on, PK?
Oh, it's somewhere in America here. I'm probably Vegas. I don't know off the top of my head. Sorry, I'm just trying to get it to load up here on my Bet365 has been a bit of a.
Any, will they have a few fans in it? A few spectators, or
actually no. Yeah,
I think the last few fights they've had no one in at them, just the media and the corners and stuff like that. So I don't see that changing.
All out in bloody what's his name, Eddie Hearn's back garden.
That was fight camp.
Such a funny one to see it, and they do the high angle shots, and you're just looking at a house in the background.
Yeah. Katie Taylor's fighting tonight too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should be.
That one she's fighting is actually decent.
I don't.
A fairly decent looking fighter, I assume you mean.
Fighter. Yeah.
No, like because I only saw the picture
ring
of the
and
weigh-in, but she looked all right at the weigh-in anyway.
I mean, sorry, Slats, I just got it up here. Crawford is 1-12 just to win. So the bookies are convinced that he gets him out of there. And I think 5-2 is enough value for me to say that I don't think he does get him out of there. I think it's I actually think Kelbrook is value in itself at 7-1, but not in America against Crawford. I just think he's the hype train too.
Like, is Kelbrook kind of like in terms of his career, like he's reaching the end at this stage, isn't he? Or is there life in him yet?
I think there's plenty of life in him yet. Like, I don't think in the modern day, I don't think 30. I think he's 33, 34. I don't think that's that old in boxing terms. And he's in great nick. I know, like, he hasn't fought in a while. There's going to be a bit of rust, and it does remain to be seen. Like, that is an unknown. But Crawford isn't exactly young himself either. So, but it's two good boxers in there, and I just don't see how Crawford like lands enough power shots, like clean power shots, to trouble Brook and actually take him out. So, I think 5-2 is decent value on that one, myself personally.
Sounds good. Gary, you've picked a touchdown scorer for us, Gary, tomorrow.
So I've gone with Travis Fulgham for the Eagles against the Giants. So he's 17-10 anytime. Like, both teams have been fairly bad this season, struggling for wins.
Oh, sorry to interrupt. France have just scored.
France have scored.
Oi.
Yeah.
Oi. Just need Germany to cop on now for that one. Is that it? Please keep going, Gary.
They haven't scored on my screen yet, but I'll see it in a minute. But yeah, so Travis Fulgham. I think Fulgham has just been like kind of grown as part of the Eagles' offense. He they had a lot of injuries at wide receiver at the start of the season, and he's kind of become their main man. And the Giants, they give up points. So I thought, like, when I went into the game, I was expecting to see him at around kind of 4 to 5ish. So 17-10 just looks like good value. So
I was surprised when you put that one in, Gary, with the price he was, because he's definitely their main receiver now. 7-4 is great value against the Giants, like.
But you're seeing the France goal there. Guess who scored?
Kante.
Coleman.
Kante.
Oh God.
Kante.
Players
N'Golo.
Between France and Port, £1 billion worth of attacking talent on the pitch.
Yeah.
Was it a decent goal?
Can you hear me all right? No, it was kind of
you're a little bit patchy.
The keeper parried it, and then Kante came in and just like tapped it in from about 3 yards out. But like, I've never even seen him that high up the pitch. It's weird.
Yeah. You like to see players like Kante getting their goal every once in a while, reward all the hard work, the hard yards they put in.
Yeah, but all the lads are running over celebrating with him, and he's actually so shy, he's like just turning away from him.
Yeah. It's like under 10 when you score, you just walk back for the kickoff. Yeah. Everyone's smiling.
I remember seeing that when Bakary Sagna scored. I think it might have even been his first adult goal he ever scored. He didn't know what to do. He just buried it and then just ran off. And then he was just kind of off on the sideline on his own, and then just ran back to his position beside the goal, and the rest of the players were chasing him down. He looked absolutely shell-shocked. It was actually kind of nice to see.
Yeah, it's a nice reaction to see, because obviously, everything's a celebration these days. It's good to see a player kind of old school, like back in the day. You see videos from the 70s or the 80s, like a lot of the goals, like they're just standing there, or there's very little celebration.
Yeah. It's like in rugby, Slats, when you see like a prop or somebody score, they just like getting all patted on the back and they're just sort of trundling back down the pitch.
I thought you were using this as a segue to come to me for my weekend bet, but now I'm not sure if you actually are.
Well, it's a good as time as any. You've picked out a try scorer for us.
Yeah, when I saw Conan at 40-1, I thought he must be on the bench. Now, like, he's been through a few injuries and that, but he's back to fitness. He's a poacher of a try scorer like that. Those props. if Munster have, the ball within 5 meters of Osprey's line, like he's as good a chance as anyone to be scoring, but more likely than most to be scoring, I would say. I remember a couple of seasons ago, he was on a bit more form now, to be fair. He'd scored, I think, 3 tries in 2 or 3 games. And I saw him at 66-1 in Paddy Power and was, drooling when I saw that. And by the time I got down to the bookies, he was into 33-1. And he came good for me at 33-1 first try score. So, I'd always be putting my faith back in him anyway. But
yeah,
40-1 just seems high for it's a match they're expecting Munster to win comfortably. Ospreys have been poor; they've been conceding an awful lot of tries. It's in Thomond, so I'm fully expecting Munster to dominate it. And 40-1 for Cronin, it was just definitely the standout value. It's obviously a long shot, and I can see you have these bets combined as a combo. But I don't know if I'd want to be dragging you here more.
I didn't put it on as a combo because it's still up there on the screen, all right. But we didn't actually place this bet because, I don't think you'd be combining, all these massive scores, all these massive odds, and then
I'd love to see what odds those 5 bets pay, but happy enough with my 40-1 shot by itself, anyway.
Yeah, who are you getting that price with? Betfair.
Betfair Sportsbook. I think it's the same on Paddy Power.
Right.
I mean,
I didn't actually. I'm going to jump in and have a look at the exchange because I didn't even check the exchange, but I can't imagine it's any better.
Just while you're doing that, is anybody watching the Germany-Ukraine match still? Let's go.
Well, I saw it.
Seconds.
No.
Sané had a shot off target just 2 minutes ago.
Well,
they haven't.
I gave a fist pump there a few minutes ago because Spain got a penalty. And I did have France Spain double just before half time. So I was like, oh, Grant's going to go 1-0 in half an hour to go. And then they missed the penalty.
They did not.
So,
yeah. If that's what lets down our both teams to score bet, that's going to be a killer. Our cash out, by the way, is down to 50 quid from 104 for anyone who's tracking that.
Well, yeah, obviously because we need both teams to score in them 2 games as time goes on, but hopefully Sané will get the shot on target pretty soon. I mean, that weekend combo bet, like you stick a $5 on that, you're going to be a rich man if that comes in. Holy crap.
Calculate it up now in a moment and see what it is, but the numbers are slightly beyond my...
Get the calculator, yeah.
Well, you stick a 41 into any 5-time accumulator and you're going to end up a rich man if it comes in.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
How's the golf looking, guys? Any updates there?
Not really. Not much movement. Justin Thomas went to 12 under as Gary suggested. Dylan Fratelli's there, but it doesn't look solid out of 15. We'll have to see what he comes in at, but it's all just pretty static around that.
And Gary, just on the
was going to kill Thomas.
Hmm?
Go ahead, Lee.
No, I was just going to ask, just because you were doing your analysis of the Masters there during the week. You were saying to us, and I was just like, that's something you do every year just for the Masters, or and what type of stuff are you looking at when you're putting that analysis together? Because everything you kind of tip to us on the group and stuff seems to be in and around kind of where you thought they'd be. So
basically, I'd look at the stats and form and stuff like that for any master or any major or whatever, but the Masters is the only one that's held on the same course every year, and it suits a certain type of player. And then players, it's kind of like a horses for courses course as well. So you either play it well or you don't. So basically, I've just picked out about 7 or 8 years ago. I picked out 5 categories that I thought suited the course, and I basically look at those 5 categories and get limited down to about 15-20 players who are the best in those categories, and then look at their Augusta form after that, and then pick a couple of them to back. So like I said, the Masters one is the most consistent and the one I'd be most confident about because it's the same course every year.
Gotcha.
And you know what the people that are playing the course either like it or they don't. but yeah, I said like that. That's why the other ones, like it's kind of you have to look at the course and then pick out what categories you want and things like that. Whereas I've tweaked the Masters one. I said over the last kind of 7 or 8 years to get the ones that are I think are right anyway. So it's always thrown up there's always been a kind of 50 to 1 shot or 100 to 1 shot that I haven't really had in my mind before doing the stats. So it throws up an outsider. It's not like obviously in the analysis there was like Dustin Johnson and people like that, and that we're going to do well.
Yeah.
But like this kind of throws a couple from left field in there. So
nice.
Those stats we should have shared those stats with people earlier in the week because they're actually looking pretty good now. Obviously it's a little
very good.
Try me if we share the stats.
Yeah, well, it's not going to be long until the next Masters in April. So now that we know where they look like they're working, I can share them. I'm gonna keep the category secret because don't want to be giving away all our tricks.
Just anyone having to guess PK's question, if you throw a fiver on this weekend combo, what's it going to pay?
Oh, there's a couple of 3 to 1s in there.
1,500 quid.
Germany just scored.
Boom.
Yes.
Please be Serie.
Yes. Werner.
But it's good for our.
There's a Werner.
Yeah. So there's our rolling bank in. Lovely. Now we're waiting.
Oh yeah, we had the France match in there. Lovely. It's up to 154 quid.
Yeah.
154. Nice.
Does anyone think we'll get another one in?
Imagine what the balance would have been if Lee had put on the other bet.
Oh,
164.
164.
Your 1,500 is a little off, by the way, Gary. It's 36,000.
Should be, yeah.
If you throw that on.
36,000.
I spent worse.
It's 7,500 to 1. There. So
just cash out of the Saturday bet and stick whatever the 30 or 40 quid in it.
Throw it all on. Yeah.
I was looking there at James Cronin. There's the Betfair Exchange isn't interested enough in the Munster game first try score market, but on the sports book he's already come into 25 to 1, which does highlight the value he was at 40 to 1. 25 to 1 is where he should be really. 20 to 1 or 25 to 1 is what I would have expected to see him at. And yeah, he's come into that now. But I'm happy to be on him at 40 to 1 anyway.
Yeah, it's nice. Speaking of that Germany match though, with them 3-1 up now, you'd have to wonder will the subs start getting brought on, and Serie could be in trouble.
This is it, right? We need to keep an eye on that.
Hopefully not.
Yeah.
Or at least we have our banker in.
The Germans are kind of relentless though, like
Yeah.
As they showed in Brazil that time.
So often you can't be on the internet 2 weeks without people putting up some video of those fans crying in some context. Such a go-to clip.
You're horrible, little bit.
No, I don't put it up.
I'm gonna have a wee look here at the Liverpool game. Oh, there's no stats there.
Thomas is gonna take a bogey.
Sun Jam went to 12 under.
Not bad for us.
Not bad.
Croatia don't seem to be up to much here at all. I'm just kind of looking at the in-game stats. Like since half time, I don't think they've had a shot.
No,
I'm a bit worried about that one.
Do they have anyone on the bench, lads, worth bringing on?
Let me have a look. I'll try to pronounce a few names for you, and you can tell me if they're good or not. I mean, they've Petkovic, Kolak. I don't know. They've already brought on. So
I'm just looking at the Katie Taylor fight, and she's 1-33, obviously, so they expect her to win. But she's 4-5 to win by decision too, like, and 11-10 to win by KO or whatever. But she rarely gets people out of there, like.
Yeah, that's true. She only has a couple of knockouts, doesn't she?
Yeah,
especially in her more recent fights.
Now, in saying that, I know very little about her opponent, like very little.
1-33.
She has a couple of belts year one anyway, so she can't be that bad. Like,
I'll Google her here now and just see if she's ever really been knocked out. Because like, if she doesn't have a bad record, like Taylor doesn't take people out, like, but Taylor win the fight. Miriam, like, I'm not going to claim to know anything about this. I'm just spotting what I think might be a decent value, or else throwing an accumulator or whatever.
Still waiting for some of your in-play magic here, PK. Time is ticking.
I was going to have a look at a game. That's why I went on to Bet365, actually. Leave that with me.
Got distracted by
One Katie Taylor. It was on that page on Bet365, you see. Italy. I mean, it was earlier. I was tempted by Livorno double chance, but Livorno.
What's the score there now? I stopped tracking it once it went 2-1.
Still 2-1, but like Livorno's only, according to the Bet365 stats, their only shot on target has been the goal, and they've only had 40% possession. So
I'm so glad we changed that bet to the over
goals.
2.5. Yeah.
I'm not seeing anything there. Let me just see if I can.
While you're looking that up, we might move on to the NFL. We've had we're running. Well, Gary is the one doing the running the super contest. It's chugging along nicely. So 4 of us have been incredibly similar to each other since we've decided to do our own side competition. I don't actually have the exact numbers, but I don't think there's any major gaps opening up.
You keeping track on that, LB?
I mean,
actually just quickly go back to the weekend combos. I know PK tipped Adams as well for two touchdowns or more in the match of the weekend. Like just PK. Yeah, no, I agree with you on that one. Do you want to go into what you think about that, or
I just Jacksonville are poor, and Rodgers and Devontae Adams have been lighting it up lately. So I just don't. Now he could spread it out. He's probably going to have Rodgers probably going to have a chance to use a few different options in this game, and they might just try a few different things, and Valdez-Scantling could get a couple or whatever. But I can just see at the beginning of the game he could have 2 in the first half, and they put it to bed, and then Adams sits a bit, and even Rodgers sits the last quarter. But Jacksonville aren't bad, but like they don't have much of a run game either, so they're going to sling it about. So you're going to see Rodgers with the ball in his hand quite a lot, I would have thought. So I just think it's value at 3-1. He's their main man too. So I
was just checking it there as well, just kind of while we were going through, and like Jacksonville have by far the worst pass defense in the league as well. So I think it's a good one, and Adams is I think three multiple touchdown games already this season. So I think it's a good one as well.
Yeah, 3-1. There's value there, right?
Jeez, you said he's had 3 games where he's had 2 or more touchdowns.
Yeah.
And he's 3-1. That seems good price.
Yeah, against the worst pass defense. Well, one of the worst pass defenses in the league. So.
Yeah, I mean he's 6 touchdowns last 3 games, and 3 games with 2 or more touchdowns so far this year. Yeah, and he's the clear go-to, obviously. So if there's going to be, I mean, it's it's more than likely he's going to be taking them in as well.
That seems a very generous price.
Right. I'm going to double down on something here, and I don't expect you to follow because our accumulator's waiting on this too.
Gary's hand just went out to fix the camera. I thought he was giving us a boom or a cheer. My heart skipped a beat.
I'm going to back. I'm going to back Spain double chance. I think they're all over them, judging by what I can see.
Really?
Yeah.
20 minutes to score a goal.
Sick they didn't score that penalty.
Yeah, they'll get
Ramos missed it, wasn't it?
I'm convinced they're going to get an equalizer. So they're
supposed to be in Ramos,
yeah.
They're 11-8 double chance. So you wanted an in-play bet? That's what I'm doing.
All right, go ahead.
Put the whole 154 from our rolling ACA up on the in-play.
Absolutely not.
Do it. Morata's on now.
Are we gonna try and roll that again? Is there anything there? Does anyone see anything?
American football on tonight.
It's getting the dodgy territory, I'd say.
Yeah, but not these games. There's lots of in-play games on, no?
I wouldn't be going near any game with 20 minutes left to try and find a banker. Unless you're doing an unders. You could do an under 5.5 in the game or something.
Sweden, Croatia, no more goals to be scored.
Well, you wouldn't even need to do no
horrible
more.
You'd be on edge.
It's just the most stressful thing ever. Every time I go to the end, you just be quaking in your boots.
Like it's 1-7, and this is on Bet365, so you'd be probably getting 1-6 or 1-5 in the exchange for under 3.5 goals in Sweden, Croatia.
I'm on it. Let's go.
No.
Do it, LB. Yes, sir.
So
Beautiful.
Not to have 2 goals, basically, is the bet there.
Yeah, it seems so unlikely. Wait, I mean, Sweden have had a few half. I don't know. Maybe if they scored a third, Croatia just fall apart altogether. But
What about the Eredivisie game, the Rode against Maastricht, Slats, your domain?
I mean, I saw they went up 1-0. It wasn't a match I really fancied a lot of goals in, and you know, there's been one. Maastricht haven't had a shot on target all game, so
Yeah.
I
The stats seem pretty even, and it's whatever. It's around 3-10 for another goal, but I don't think it's probably not worth it in that game.
I would be going there for another goal. I mean, you know, you'd never write off another goal in Dutch 2 at any stage of a match.
No.
Actually, last week there was a few very late goals in the Dutch football when we were watching that.
There seems to be a lot, yeah. Not a market if you back in unders laid on in the game anyway.
No.
I'm just looking at Switzerland, Sweden here, like under 2.5 goals there is 1-5.
Switzerland, Spain.
Oh, sorry, what did I say? Switzerland, Spain. Sorry. I don't know. I mean, I suppose if it went 1-1, maybe they'd both be looking for a winner. But you know, those 2 games have just looked quite dead this half, just based on this anyway.
Yeah, there's actually not really much out there that I'd like to actually put any money near now. We have that.
That's with these international matches, though. These international weekends, it's very hard to do the reduced schedule. It's very hard to kind of keep up with, you know, or make anything of.
Yeah, well, in fairness, now that winner we had, you know, if we were talking in terms of 1-20s, that's about 7 bets, I'd say, between those 2.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They were miles ahead of schedule.
We got like a 35% return, didn't we? On or more, was it? We put on 110 and we got 155. So we got.
I think it was 1.33. So basically, exactly that. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that takes 4 or 5 bets for us to do. All right. So
we're inclined to let these matches ride out now. I mean, if we're lucky, we'll get the 3 things that we need, and we'll have a huge pot boost. But if we're not, I wouldn't go chasing any of these matches anyway. They all seem to have gone a bit flat.
Yeah.
They're all petering out a bit.
Yeah. And we still have this bet in running. I don't know if anyone's been able to see the Germany game in Serie or what's going on, but
they haven't had another shot on target since that goal. So they've only 4 shots on target and 3 goals. I don't think Serie was the shot on target that wasn't a goal.
DJ has gone to 16 under in the Masters as well, lads.
Oh, really?
oh god, he needs to stop.
He's wrecking the excitement.
Yeah. Like we're going to be watching tomorrow like, oh, will DJ implode, rather than seeing like a bit of a boxing match between a few players. Like you're just like that.
Yeah, he's on the 16th now, which is a par 3. And he is probably about 12 foot, maybe even shorter, to go to 17 under.
Oh, Jesus.
So.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. Fucking disaster.
Any idea, like what normally wins the Masters? What sort of a score, or does it massively
18
vary?
is the record.
What is, sorry?
18 under.
And he's going to be probably level with that going into.
Would it be a safe guess that it was Woods that made the record?
Well, 2 people have had it. Woods was one, and Speed was the other.
Yeah.
Do you remember 1 or 2 Masters where Woods was just way ahead of the crowd? Like, you know, even way more than Johnson is at the moment. Like he was, just had it wrapped up. Like
it's just, I think that, well, you'll see because the cut line was the lowest ever. Like the course is playing easier this week than normal. I think just with the rain they had and with the time of year, the greens just and the run out isn't the same. Now, normally at the Masters, you see them; they have to land pinpoint in a position on the green, and they'll have flag positions where the ball will just run. And you'll see them if they miss it, the ball can just run to anywhere in the green. You're just not seeing that as much this time. Maybe they're just hitting it to the right spots or whatever, but I just think there's not as much run and it's not as quick. So just playing that wee bit easier.
Lowry's just finished up a decent 4 under for the day.
Yeah, he did very well yesterday to make the cut. He was looking in danger for a long time. Yeah, Justin is Sick, man.
A cash
I was
out
gonna ask you
less
about
stake.
NFL.
Hmm?
The your NFL Super Contest thing. So I was looking at your table there, what you had up on screen. So am I right that you pick any 5 games and pick one team to beat their spread? Is that the gist of it?
Exactly. That's exactly.
Yeah.
So because I was seeing like, you 3 went for the Texans -3, is it, or am I right with that?
No, we went with the Browns -3 against the
The
Texans.
Browns, sorry, yeah, it's the home. The Browns -3, and then so it's just a coincidence that he even went for that game, is it?
Yeah.
Because I can see how you
Yeah.
can go for that.
Yeah, me and
How many
me and
fixtures are you picking?
3 the same picks this week, so we do. It's just based on your own personal preference in the games, right?
Yeah.
And how many fixtures are there to choose from? Is there 10 or what?
I think it's 15 every week.
This week there was only 13 though, because 2 of the spreads weren't out because you had to pick on a Thursday. I hadn't got the spreads up because
COVID.
there was players.
There's still a fair bit of
no one
overlap
played
there.
with the COVID and stuff.
Yeah, the overlap is considerable. And we had that last week, and I think where we all tended to agree, we actually all suffered upsets.
There's a lot of people that already lost one because of the Titans this week, though. They got
I think was I saying that thing to you, LB, about the rugby that I did it before, and I did a few of us compared similar to what you do. We'd all pick our spreads, and then there was also a website that I used to go on, and it basically just used it. It was so unbiased; it just used stats from kind of maybe the last 5 or 10 games that the teams played. So it was completely just mathematical. So I used to put in their predictions along with ours and kind of compare us to them. And you're always kind of looking for an edge. What if all of us agreed on one side of the spread, then I might bet that. Or if the games that we all agreed, we might combine those into a treble. And we never had much joy out of it. Really, we were all right, but didn't do great. But one thing I found was if the 4 of us agreed on one side of the spread and the statistical pick was on the other side of the spread, you could nearly guarantee that side was going to win. And
the statistical side.
Yeah, the 4 of us would actually be wrong. If the 4 of us and the stats were on one side, it'd be a good bet to go on it. But if the stats were on the opposite side to all 4 of us, then you'd be going with the stats. And I guess it's just that kind of human bias that we'd all have one thing in our head, and that the stats are actually against it. And if we all have one thing in our head, that's actually dragging that spread further away from where it even started, further away from what it should be. So definitely as well to get on the other side.
Yeah, it is interesting. We've talked about that. So I think maybe on the show, but certainly me and Gary have talked about it. But certain teams seem to get, people are very inclined to lump on them or back them nearly with any spread, no matter what it is. And it seems to be, when everyone is a bit biased on it, maybe they're the good opportunities for punting.
I don't know if something like this is just late, but I think Spain just missed another penalty.
No way.
Spain missed another penalty. Switzerland have had a man sent off.
You're absolutely
Justin
kidding.
Thomas is just dunked in the water, so wasn't the best 30 seconds of my life.
What the hell? How do you miss 2 penalties? They just fucking with me, or what's the story like?
What else is
2 penalties?
What else is worth noting is that Germany have started bringing in substitutions, and they've left Sané out there. So
and Germany have had 2 more shots on target in the last couple of minutes. I don't know if that's shown up on your cash out, LB, or if anyone knows if Sané was either of those shots on target. I bet you have them up to 6 shots now when they were 4.
How do you miss 2 penalties?
That's special.
Sané, anyway.
They weren't Sané.
No.
It would be sick if it was only 2 missed penalties letting down your bet.
I mean,
but we'd have had if it was just if they scored that first penalty, the cash out would have probably gone up to about 200. So you'd be kind of sitting there, getting very, very tempted by it then.
But I have them in a single, and then I have double chance Spain in a
double
single.
Chance as well, yeah.
I mean, they're absolutely killed.
And I had them in a double with France, so
they're basically
costing us all.
They're pissing all over my parade anyway, that's for sure. Stupid Spanish. Huh? Oh God.
Yeah. So unfortunate, but yeah, you were saying about the NFL stats. We're all a lot of, I think, yeah, it's 3 teams that 3 of the 4 of us have picked, and then 4 more teams that 2 of the 4 of us have picked. So it'll be interesting to track those 7 picks and see how they come out next weekend. I personally am probably going to back it as a 7-fold, just on the. Well, it'll probably be a huge price, but you know, sometimes when you see it, it's very hard to not back them when you've seen them written down like that.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
who just scored? Croatia just scored. Boom.
Wow. We only need Spain now and Sana.
Oh fuck! And the 2 missed penalties. Absolute shitbags.
This is disgusting.
That is bad.
We've confirmed that Sané wasn't either of those.
If Sana gets a shot on target, I don't know what I'll do. It'll be sick. It will be sick.
Cruel.
Yeah.
Against 10 men, surely Spain can pull it out of the bag.
Jesus.
Come on.
Still plenty of time, like, yeah, you're right. Against 10 men, surely they're just gonna.
Sergio Ramos more.
I'll be surely our cash out's fairly decent. Sana is the one that's going to kill it because they expect. I just say in the bet they expect Spain to score.
It is suspended, so give me a minute. It's a waiting result now.
Yeah, I mean the draw is only 9-4.
Yeah, with 10 against 10 men.
It's up to 23 quid now. Yeah, I'd say Sané for a shot on target is probably
killing it.
What would he be? Yeah,
that would have drifted massively at this stage.
But that can all change in one little moment. That one.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm forever hopeful.
Personally, I'm just feeling good that my pet wasn't the one to leave us down anyway.
You shush now.
Croatia were looking like they were not there.
2 penalties now. You shush. Oh God, this is sick. We're so. This is.
It's definitely one of our better Fridays, though, in terms of production, because we've had a early interest in the bet.
Come on,
there we go. It's a good start. That's the difference. One of our better Saturday, our best Saturday ever.
Definitely one of our better Fridays.
Yeah.
I want to keep it. Is someone watching the Germany game?
I'm just tracking it. I'm not watching it.
Oh, I'm the same. I'm just looking at the stats. They haven't got another shot on target since now.
It's hard to know about Sané. Spain will want to cop on.
I mean, at least he's still on the pitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's too big.
Werner was taken off, so I mean, Werner had his 2 shots on target already, I suppose.
2 goals, yeah.
Switzerland are 1-3 here, though.
I know we haven't had much success with LB, but have we any evens bet to get going again on the 10K challenge?
Yeah, I mean, my actual bet of the night tonight is a college football bet later on. It's kind of a combination of 2 evens bets, so it's a certain team to beat the spread, Northwestern, and the over in that game. I mean, it's kind of one of those ones that's hard to put your finger on.
That just be like, it's a certain team to beat the spread.
It's a team that I won't tell you about until Monday. But
very good analysis. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, when they beat the spread, I'll let you know.
See you same game next week.
That kicks off at 10 o'clock tonight, so that could be a good one to start us off. At least if it loses, we haven't lost any time waiting around.
In fairness, you've been pretty good on your college football. It's an area I know nothing about. I see that Notre Dame are playing Boston College. That's a good game.
Yeah, it will be. That's a kind of a funny one. It's kind of the Boston College would be kind of a bogey team for Notre Dame. So I would say, I think I forget what price they opened at, but 9-2 maybe. Boston College, I'd be tempted to back them at that.
Oh well, it's on now. Actually, I'm looking at it in play. It's 10 each at the beginning of the second quarter, and the starting spread was 13, and it's now 6.5. So
yeah, there you go. 13. Like 13 was like, I think probably because so many people know that they're the bogey team for them that they probably otherwise would be well over 2 touchdown favorites. But they're just, I don't know. I think they've got a lot of history there of anytime they beat a number 1 ranked team, which they did it last week. They play Boston College and slip up. So in 10-all, I probably still back Notre Dame there, but -6 is a pretty attractive one. But the one later on, Northwestern, are just actually this is a good one for you, Lee, because you fancy the teams with the interesting names, and they're playing Purdue, who are called the Boilermakers. I'm not sure where that name could possibly go.
What a name! What a name!
Boilermakers. But yeah, the over in that one is nearly like an NFL line. I think it's 41, maybe 42. I mean, I think it'll comfortably cover that. So
The Purdue game?
yeah, Northwestern will beat them, I think, but they'll cover the 42 anyway. That's my expectation for later on. Are you watching the Boston College match, PK?
No, I just have it up here on Bet365, and Boston College are at the.
Sorry to interrupt. Sane's gone off, but we can cash out for 11 quid in our bet.
Quick.
So I'm taking that.
Take it.
Good shout.
From 100 to 11.
Cruel, but we got our money back. Oh,
On a losing bet. That's always a win. Did it work, LB?
The odds changed, so it stopped. Now down to 9.39.
Quick, Jad. That's fine. It's good.
Yeah, boom, got the money back.
Sweet.
Hopefully nobody from that particular bookmaker is watching our live stream and what we've just done.
Empty the account, withdraw everything.
Flash score I think they have some of the fastest data of any of the sites.
Flash.
Yeah, Bet365 is showing them off as well.
Is it? Are they? Are you just I have the little lineup. They got the team out in there.
You'd be afraid to go with only one source in case they just got the substitution. Imagine like if he was still on.
Scored the goal, but the man hit the wrong button as a substitute, and he's just gone like the red arrow. All right. Well, that was a good actual sweat out of that bet. Like we were in the running for the whole thing, really.
That was decent going.
Yeah, I was wondering why we were going to do it 650 quid there for a minute. I was like, I'll roll it.
You were getting your 2 quid back, would you go way out of it?
You stop.
400 quid.
You already took it out of the kitty. You have to put it back in, you miserable whore.
Right. So I mean, our bank today has gone from 118 to 163. So that's not a bad return.
And who? It's Exley or Gary next, right? For tomorrow.
So who's taking credit for the Germany?
I think Gary was claiming that he'd take the Germany game anyway, wasn't he? Weren't you?
He did come down with 11 o'clock.
France anyway. I said France though.
Right.
Oh, Spain scored.
Just scored.
Spain chance. Who did they score?
Yeah.
And the time of this, if they've scored,
Yeah, they scored.
Who picked that Santa bet, lads?
Lee.
Oh, disgusting.
I put it in for him because he actually submitted no bets to the group. So
650 quid you cost us.
Would you not have gone for Werner instead? Was that not the obvious choice?
Yeah, I mean, I suggested it, but I was talked out of it.
Werner was 2-5 for his 2 shots on target.
2-5 was he?
Yeah, it was 1-8 for 1 shot.
Oh.
So.
Well, at least I didn't lose any money today. Whew.
Yeah, we're up.
We were one Leroy Sané shot on target away from hitting the 650.
And there's my in-play record doing okay again.
Yeah.
One Leroy Sané shot away from hitting 650.
Would you cash out of the France-Spain bet, or would you let it ride and hope Spain get another in the next 2 minutes?
Oh,
basically getting a tenner profit.
Tenner profit.
On what's the stake?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be.
Quid.
I mean, I'd cash it because to get profit on a game that there's only 2 minutes left is crazy.
What's it paying out if he wins?
170. So it's 12 quid on. I can cash out for 22 or leave it for 170.
I cash out partially, get your stake back, and if it wins, you'll win 80 or 70.
Yeah, not a bad show.
Yeah, it's a zero risk bet then.
Yeah, exactly.
Gary, they'll be throwing up the injury time there now in a second, will they?
I can't believe Spain missed 2 fucking penalties. Like
crazy.
I actually can't believe how close we came with that 650.
I mean, that's
God. Pretty close though. For anyone watching, you can see how it's good that we're pulling information from different kind of sources and different areas of expertise. That a 65 to 1, it's pretty good going to nearly get a 60.
Very.
Oh, that would have been a beaut. That would have been made it a good Saturday. What would we have done with the 650? kept it for bets, right? We would have just kept.
Put it all on James Cronin first try score.
Oh man,
Yeah.
what
Definitely would have been the 10 or got onto that anyway, for sure.
I was looking at that 5-fold for the weekend though, and the prices are like all pretty decent in it. So what's a 5-fold roll up into? Is that a Canadian? Is that what they call it?
Yeah.
Oh, geez, perfect for me.
Yeah, appropriate PK.
Love a Canadian.
We probably actually would put a Canadian on that if we had the 650 because
I mean, they're all good prices to perm. Like they're
but the
there.
Canadian
Like,
is the one that doesn't have the singles. Am I right? It just doubles and.
I've no
Canadian.
I've no idea. I'm gonna have a wee look at putting on that now with the bit of profit I made.
But Slats has been telling us that he backed the shit out of Cronin before he told us about it, so you can only get 25 now, I think.
No.
My fiver flooded the market.
Got the last college fund on it, so
I hate when I only get 25 to 1 on a bet. It's a disaster.
Yeah, shocking.
when you're used to 80 to 1 winners like us, PK, 25 is nothing.
Not worth your time.
Yeah, I wouldn't bother with it. God.
Yeah.
Germany.
Did you end up cashing out, Gary? Yeah.
I did what LB said. I took my stake back. So
No, there's 5 minutes injury time, so they still have 2.5 minutes to go, and they had a corner there.
Nice.
But nothing came from it as always. It was 100% of the time.
Oh God, that was such a close one though. I'm actually still kind of feeling it. The 65 to 1.
Yeah.
I'm actually raging about Spain. I can't believe that Ramos missed 2 penalties. And the thing about it was, when I looked at the bets earlier on, Ramos' 1 shot on target was even money, and I was like, oh well, that's a decent bet. I think he was like 5 to 1 for 2 shots on target, and he's had 3 shots on target, but 2 of them are missed penalties. Like.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Cruel.
Man, it could have been such a huge day. Like,
Yeah. Well, I like this weekend.
It's good to get interest out of it.
Yeah.
It's nice to get a run for your money, but Jesus, like, 650.
I think I'm going to back the 5-fold of our weekend picks, and I'll probably do the 4-fold then as well without Cronin, just in case.
Yeah.
Is that?
I would recommend that.
Are you splitting out that tenner that we have sitting? Is it?
Which tenner?
The tenner that we cashed out, or you're just backing for?
Sending us €2 each.
I can do that. I can do it on for the group. I don't mind doing that. So we're up to 163 is the pot, so we can roll a bit of that on to the double onto the weekend combo, or we can.
No, keep that actually. Just keep it for our rolling bet for the banker bets.
Yeah.
No point crossing it up, or else we'll just get all mixed up. Yeah. I'm happy enough to jump on that 5-fold myself.
Yeah. So are we going to start the 10 to 10K tonight?
I mean, I'm pretty confident in your college picks. Like, I actually quite enjoy it. So the Purdue over is your bet, right?
Yeah. Yeah, if I had to do one, I would actually probably do them with the handicap. I'd probably, if I had to pick one of the two. So Northwestern -3.5 would be my bet.
That's both.
Yeah, I say go for it.
Right. So that's it. That's our official bet one of the 10 to 10K. Northwestern -3.5. And plenty of action tomorrow. I'm sure Gary, PK, or Lee can bring out an evens football game for us. I mean, what time actually is the Texans match up?
I think it's one of the early ones, is it?
Is it?
I don't know, because a lot of them moved around. They put them later because of the Masters.
Yeah.
So I think there's only like 4 early games, and then there's a load in the late window then.
Well, we can check in anyway and see which ones we want to roll it onto. I just get such an urge to do them all as fast as possible, and we could get tonight an overnight maybe a box.
Urges, man.
Yeah,
Spain drew. Yeah, that's what makes a good gambler though. Is just betting straight away again and no discipline, obviously.
Just keep going, PK.
Yeah, sure. Boston College are 13-10 up.
I mean, if you had them back -13 now, you'd be delighted with yourself,
Yeah, or plus 13, right?
Oh, sorry, yeah. That Livorno game finished 2-1, by the way. So we made the right call changing over.
I mean,
I think go ahead.
I'm just looking here because we all selected the Browns, didn't we, in the Super Contest? Or 3 of us at least, was it?
3 of us, yeah.
So they've moved to -4 from the -3 we took them at. Like, I just don't see. I just don't see how the Texans beat them. As much as I hate the Browns, I'm not a big fan of the Browns. And usually when I put them in a bet, they kill me. But like the Cowboys, every time I go near them, when I back the Cowboys, they do nothing. When I back against them against the Steelers last week, they fuck me. Just moral of the story is I got to stay away from the Cowboys. But yeah,
them in Atlanta.
The Falcons. I don't mind the Falcons. It's just they haven't cost me that much money. I mean, the Falcons are actually an all right team.
I think he said Atalanta.
I said Atlanta. You're yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was just football on the
mind. The Atalanta Falcones.
Never. Falcones.
That's like the mafia family name.
I like that. Yeah.
Atalanta Falcones.
The Galbinos, the Falcones.
Oh God. Sorry about that. It's just football.
No, you're right.
Mind.
The Falcones, since they got rid of Dan Quinn, I think have been a lot better than the Falcones pre Dan Quinn.
You still don't trust them, but they're not a bad football team. Like.
No.
I'm actually. I've been looking over these as we were talking on air, and I'm definitely going to back that sevenfold. The 5 of us or the 4 of us have kind of settled on. Anything that got more than one pick, I'm going to do because we have no contrast this week, which is actually a surprise. It's the first time in I think 4 weeks.
But I mean, it's a tricky week though. I'm surprised we've had no like picks against each other, but I think most of us at this stage of the season have our teams that we trust. You know, that can win.
Yeah.
You still trust the Bears, LB. I'm not sure.
Do you know what it was? Do you know why I actually put them in there? I obviously have a soft spot for them that continually comes back to bite me in the arse. But you would be so convinced the last 2 weeks that the Vikings were dead and buried that I just think, obviously they're not dead and buried anymore, but to be 2.5 point favorites on the road, I just think I'll take the Bears there.
Yeah. Was they were missing Dalvin Cook for a few weeks? Like when they got him back, like he's fucking running amok the last 2 weeks.
Now the Bears obviously have a good run defense, I think so. But the Bears are possibly one of the worst. What are they? 5-2?
I think so, but they're
like it's crazy.
Yeah.
There
was another one there that actually stood out to me that I was surprised. So the 3 of you have all gone Titans -2. That's another one. I didn't take that one. Yeah. But that lost last night, right? I was going to
Thursday night. Yeah.
I was going to say I'm surprised. I'm surprised nobody went for the Colts, but they've already won, so I can't really say that.
The Colts are really, really good. Like I watched the game, they just absolutely took over. Now there was a couple of special team plays. The punter got blocked for a return touchdown, and he sliced one just before that for only a 20-yard gain, and when they were inside their own 10, so that kind of killed them. Killed the Titans' momentum, but the Colts just were relentless on them. But the Colts won't beat any.
When you said they returned the block there.
They blocked the punt and they recovered it for a touchdown.
We haven't been up? I'm sorry.
Never. I've never gone near
Thursday night in particular.
I don't think I've ever got one of the early games right. Like it's just mad. But the Colts are really good. They were really good, but they won't beat better teams because they don't have any deep threats. Rivers is throwing the ball under just all night, and they got their run game working really well when like they don't have much of a run game. The Colts, it just worked really well against the Titans the other night, but Rivers didn't throw any long passes all night because Frank Reich knows that watching the Chargers last year that's you got to stop Phillip Rivers doing that because he tends to throw it away quite a bit. I just don't. I think for that reason they'll not beat anyone this year, but they look really good against the Titans. To be fair though. Or else the Titans were just out of gas too.
When you said about the blocked kick, PK, there was one in the college football last weekend, and there's a couple of people who've got a tendency that they'll call a timeout right before the kicker kicks just to mess with his mind, and people kind of frown upon it in college football because they're obviously young enough athletes.
Yeah,
and the coach called a timeout right as he was kicking the ball, but it didn't get seen, or it wasn't initially picked up. They blocked the kick, they returned it the whole way down, scored a touchdown, won the match, and then someone realised that the timeout had been called, went back, took the kick again, he scored it, and the other team won the match. And everybody was just absolutely jeering the shit out of the coach. So it was kind of karma for him in a way, I suppose.
Oh, that sounds like a fun game, though.
Yeah.
A good watch.
Cruel thing to do, though, to a teenager, basically. You know?
Yeah, true.
Oh, fair, love him more.
Yeah.
So it's basically just to prolong how long he has to stand over this important kick, like.
Well, he does his prep, then when he runs up for it, then they just call it and he has to go off and they'll just wait 30 seconds and make him do it again.
It's called icing the kicker.
Yeah.
What I noticed, and maybe this happens in every golf tournament ever heard it. At one stage in the Masters yesterday, or maybe at the end of round one, like I can't remember now. But like a big siren went off or a big foghorn went off to indicate that it was getting too dark to play on or something, right?
Yeah, lots of light.
But like, what if someone was in their backswing when that went off?
See, they kind of try and coordinate it. They have
And it's
loads
safe
of
to do it,
walkie-talkies and stuff, but it definitely will happen, like, you know. But there's no other way of doing it. So,
what I thought was mad was I was watching
Could they not just
Leishman's group, and I thought like they have to finish out the hole they're on, but they decided to play on their next shot, and Mark Leishman left his eagle putt short, and he left a marker down, and he's going to play it again the next day.
yeah.
I was like, what?
No,
Like, you can surely just finish out the hole. Like.
no, it's their own choice. Well, at that stage, the greens, like, they're all bubbly because the grass has been growing all day and people have been walking and stuff, so you're better off just getting fresh greens. But
I think that's a mad rule, though. I would have thought they'd time it so that there's enough light to go like, okay, everyone finish out their hole that they're on, and then if they've played a shot,
just have one steward kind of at every hole going, right, this is going to be one seat that adds wrap up here. I'm going to tell them that that's it for the day, like, instead of this big horn blowing across the whole course.
I just don't know many golfers that want to go the course, and like, because I seen Leishman looking at his thing before he picked up the ball, and he was like taking almost a mental image of the putt, so they could go over it in his head all night. And I'm like, do you really want to do that? Like, do you really want to have this one putt in your head all night when you're trying to prepare for a full round again tomorrow too?
I feel as well, like if I was up in the tee box and I'd been having a good day, and then I was like, it's getting pretty dark, I just would have it in my head, that fucking horn's going to go off now. You know, you can wait for it to go as you're in your backswing, like.
No, they tend to have people on all the boxes and stuff like that to coordinate it around the course. So I think it'll be, and the likes of the Masters, I think they have such a setup that it shouldn't happen. But
and does it happen on other courses in other tournaments, or is that kind of unique to the Masters?
No, I think it's fairly rare that rounds get called off, but they definitely do. Like,
well, they'll do it if there's lightning or whatever. So if they have to, like, anytime they have to stop play. So if electrical storms are coming in or whatever, they'll do it. It worked for him though, PK. He got the putt. I'm checking here. That was the 15th, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was
par 5.
Yeah,
he got the putt.
He left his eagle putt 6 or 7 foot short.
Yeah, so he got the putt, then went par, bogey, double bogey. So
that's because he wasn't mentally prepared for the round. Because I'm telling you, you can't go in with this mental image of one putt in your head, because it's the main thing in your head all night. He should have finished out that hole.
He showed up to the course just with his putter, and he had to go back and get the rest of his putts for the next one.
Exactly. He went to it was out all morning on the fucking, or any time he got to practice, just on the putting range for that one putt. And left the rest of his game to fucking. Yeah, I thought it was a mental error on his part, anyway. I'm looking at Katie Taylor, or the one Katie Taylor's fighting here, and she's 13 from 13 wins. Mind you, she is 37. She's
experience. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, but like, she's only 13 fights, but like nothing. I see nothing to suggest that Katie Taylor will just knock her out. So I'm going on the Crawford Taylor win by decision double, which should give you about 5-2.
What do you think Katie Taylor was? 11-10.
Yeah, 10-11. So it's basically even the 5-2. So you're getting over 5-1 double there, right?
She did look 37 to me. Did it right?
All right, Gary.
Like a fine wine in Gary's book.
Oh God. Yeah, so I'm gonna
think I like the look of what we've picked out now for the weekend. We've got a lot of consistency in the NFL bets. I mean the touchdown score, as you guys mentioned earlier on, pretty convincing. So I'm actually probably going to back quite a number.
Jason's here. I take it all back.
I looked her up, by the way, Gary. Yeah. Anyway, let's not go down that road. So.
There must have been somebody else in the press conference. By the way,
Harsh.
So what have we said? Like, what our best NFL, what our most confident NFL bets of the week? I know me and Gary have we've gone through Davante Adams and Travis Fulgham. Have you any insights on anything, LB?
I mean, in terms of players, no. I haven't really had a look at it this weekend. I've been tied up elsewhere, but I think I'm going to back the handicaps that we all align on. I think that there's just some good ones out there. So
now, the only thing I meant to say, I don't know whether you lads have the Panthers in there or not. But
no.
Okay, because I have the Panthers in for mine. The Panthers +6 against the Bucks, and I've actually got massively off that because it looks as though McCaffrey isn't going to play.
Yeah, he's Panthers. Well, according to my fantasy team, he's expected to get 0 points. So.
Yeah. So that wasn't the news when I did the pick. So I'd actually go like full circle and say that the Bucks +6 would be a banker. Like, you know, I don't know whether that's still the spread or not. But outside of that, I'm Fulgham. No, that's kind of my.
We talked in our group earlier, maybe 2 weeks ago, about me potentially trying to trade Lamar Jackson and McCaffrey to get somebody else. I kind of regret not chasing that a bit at the time. Now the two of them have not really returning, and they're not expected to return a huge amount of points as the season chugs along. So I think I'm going to have the opposite of last season. I'm going to storm my way to the playoffs and then make a hasty exit at that point.
Why? What's wrong with Lamar Jackson?
Just not getting the points and
the points, not running the ball as much.
Yeah, exactly. So let me check actually what the Bucks are here, Gary. I'm curious now if they, because McCaffrey, in my head, well, certainly the injury was known last weekend. Maybe he was questionable as opposed to being out. At what point did that line change?
Because it's question because it was only like a shoulder injury or something. It wasn't, like leg injury. So
they first reported it as a rib injury, which you'd think could have a fairly low impact. He'd definitely be back.
Yeah.
Let me check.
It might have been rib, but I knew it was something that was like.
You're right, it is shoulder. But when it first came out, they said it was his rib. Right. And then you think if that moved to a shoulder injury, it can't have been that bad. If it initially mixed it up for something else.
I meant to ask you, LB, you were talking about a Florida game last night that you were considering back in the overs.
Till by half time.
Was it?
Much. Yeah. I'm absolutely so annoyed. That was yesterday. We were talking all day. I had so many bets that all came in, and I just didn't have the bottom at the back of them as the matches went on.
You were just thinking. You were thinking that you were so confident about it that you must have something wrong that the bookies, know.
Yeah,
better.
That's just what it is. Like, obviously, like, I'm not an expert on college football. I've only really been getting into it in a betting sense for the last 2 or 3 seasons, and I don't know. So I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on it. But when you're looking at it and you're like, see this match getting very high score. And then that one had, I think the line was, the one tonight is 49. The one yesterday, I think, was 41. And you're like, for a college game to go under 41, it's very rare.
I feel like if they had put the spread at 51, you would have gone on the overs. But since they only put it at 41, I can go on there. Yeah,
it does happen a bit when you like, you kind of think, what am I missing here that they are getting, that they know that I don't. I'm trying to find the Panthers game here now for Gary. Jesus, the Panthers. Did you back? They were -6, Gary.
+6.
Well, it hasn't changed. It's plus 5.5 now, actually.
All right.
Weird.
So, I think that 6 must have been kind of baked in already.
Yeah, it might have been. I think I fancy the Bucks like -5.5 now. Especially because like they'll be a bit scorned from last week doing so badly.
Big time.
That and Fulgham be my 2 kind of fancies.
Yeah.
Although I definitely will have more like anytime touchdown score bets tomorrow. Just haven't had a chance to look through it yet.
Yeah,
It's been too much sport with the Masters and Cheltenham and things like that. So
had you any joy at Cheltenham?
I didn't really have many like proper bets. I had a couple of small each ways, things like that. So tomorrow looks a good day. I think Discorama, he's about 5-2 tomorrow. I think he'll win. And then I'm between a couple of horses in the big race tomorrow. Yeah, I haven't quite gone through it yet. I'm gonna go through it after this. But tomorrow's the big day. So
Yeah, I'd Facile the whatever his name is, the Raffles or whatever they were earlier pulled up. But,
shocking.
yeah, beaten by a horse that he beat out of sight the last time too. The winner of that. So yeah, it's a tough whole game at this stage of the season. The old national hunt. It's hard to get a read.
Yeah. Did you see the controversy over the bumper?
No, what happened?
So like the last race bumper, there was a photo finish.
Yeah,
It was declared a dead heat, but it was so dark when they ran the race that because like the way they do the photo finishes is there's like a mirror on one side and they kind of take the photo against the mirror, so they get two sides of the finish, if you know what I mean. But it was so dark that the photo basically came out like not even black and white, just like all black. So they couldn't really tell the shadows apart. So they called it a dead heat. But then people were looking at it more and they're just going mental because they're saying that one side clearly won. So it looks as though the near side won by like, not a massive amount, but like that much. But they called it a dead heat. So there's a load of controversy over it. But then in the bumper, like I backed a 20-1 shot on it. And I had it each way. And I'd say coming into the last kind of 2 furlongs, it was about like maybe 6-4 and running. It was the last one off the bridle. So in my head, I was thinking, all right, grand, like a place is guaranteed here anyway. And it just found nothing off the bridle. The front two went away, and then he got nabbed on the line. So it was a photo finish for first and second, and a photo finish for third and fourth. So I lost out by like a nose in the third and fourth. But decent race. Should watch it back.
I must. Yeah, I find it fairly hard to get much time to actually watch the live racing here because it's on pretty early in the morning here.
Oh, I suppose, yeah.
Weekends and stuff. Just put other stuff on too, and with the Masters and that. Just didn't get a chance this weekend, but I'll watch that back. It sounds like a bit of an odd race or controversial one at least.
Is there ever any scope, Gary, once they declare the result, to readdress them? No, is that just the end of it?
In horse racing?
Yeah.
They can do it, but I don't think they will this time. Because there's no clear evidence. It's just like it's a balls. What they should have is like greyhound racing, they have lights at the finish. Like they kind of light up the finish and the photos are always clear. But because like the racing was happening during the day, they kind of just didn't think of that, So
Right, yeah.
So before that, I was going to say Dustin Johnson looks in a bit of trouble on the 18th because he was like off the green and had his massive like downhill pitch.
Yeah,
I think I was putter and nearly got the putt. So
he's looking rock steady, isn't he?
yeah, I'm hoping he misses that putt now. If you drop back to 15, then there's only 3 in it, that way.
Yeah.
But
I'm actually just watching a replay of that putt now. He's left a little tricky 6-footer, yeah.
Yeah.
5-footer.
Because like the other lads that are hole behind Answer and Thomas. So if DJ did drop one and one of those picked up, it could even be a 2-shot swing. So instead of being 4 shots, it'd be down to 2. So that's what I'm hoping happens here. But
yeah.
So we're gonna cut it here, LB, or
Yeah, I'm just trying to get our 10 to 10k live, but we can wrap this up and then we get to bet on. It's going to go on in 2 minutes. So okay.
LB, we had talked about the kind of European football during the week. I just want to mention those Dutch games that I was talking to you about.
Oh yeah, they'll be on early on Friday, are they?
Yeah, so presumably, I mean, if we are doing another stream and it is next Friday night, we just would miss these. They kick off at about 5:45 on the Friday, so I just wanted to mention them before we catching back up next Friday, or if we do leave Saturday again. But yeah, so I was just looking through any Dutch games over the next week, and these two stood out to me. The first is Volendam versus Top Os.
Okay.
Pronunciation or anything there, but
I didn't know you were Dutch, lads.
Volendam, the last 5 games they've won all 5 and they've scored 25 goals across those 5 games. Os have lost 4 and drawn 1 of their last. They've only scored once and conceded 13 in those games. So I'm just thinking Volendam to win with plenty of goals, maybe over 2.5. I'll see how I might do a safer kind of bet where it's over 1.5, but I'd say over 2.5 is looking safe there. The other one that kicks off Friday as well is Excelsior, who are 9th, are playing at home to AZ, who are 2nd from bottom. The matches last season, Excelsior won 2-1, and the other game was a 3-3 draw. Outside of that, so that's you're looking at a pretty solid both teams to score bet there. AZ, they're 2nd from bottom, but they've actually scored more than any other team in the bottom half, and they've conceded the 2nd most in the league. Excelsior mid-table, but they're scoring. Excelsior the same, they're scoring plenty, conceding plenty. So again, if I'm doing a safe bet, it might just be both teams to score, but I'd say that's going to be like 1-4, 1-3, just for both teams to score. So I'm leaning toward a home win, both to score there, but. Yeah,
over 3.5. It's probably still less than evens, but it might be just a good bet.
Yeah, I definitely think between those 2 games, you'd put a good double out of them anyway. So I'll pick one and let you know how it goes for our next stream.
Cool. Yeah, sounds good. We'll document those just for the record. I have changed our bet, so I had the over